Hey everyone, this is Ben with PrepperCon. I'm one of the owners of PrepperCon, but I'm also a firearms instructor. So I wanted to do a quick review for you today on one of my very favorite products from one of my very favorite companies. Well, it's kind of an understatement. When it comes to holsters, StealthGear USA, by far, hands down, I think creates the most comfortable holster, especially when it comes to what we call hybrids. So this particular one is called the Flex. It's one of their newest holsters. You can see it's an outside the waistband holster. So typically, if we start here, you can take a look at one of their first models called the Onyx. And you see how the Onyx has the magazine, or I'm sorry, the belt clips on the outside. And of course, this goes into the pant, and then only this part from here about there upwards is showing from the shirt. So if you have a shirt or a jacket you're trying to cover it with, it only has to come down this far. So I would say about 80% of my students, when I show them new holsters, I teach concealed weapon classes, about 80% of them are carrying inside the pant. So along comes an outside the pant holster. Now, one of the immediate advantages that when you see an outside the pant, if you've got a paddle holster or something like that, is that the gun itself is not touching your body at all. So they're very comfortable. One of the drawbacks, of course, is that most of the outside the pant market, you're going to have to now cover, and I'll put this on in a second, but if we take our gun, for example, place this in here, in most of the outside the pant holsters, you have to cover this much more of the gun. So if your shirt, all this is riding on the outside, not only do I have to come down to where you would normally, right here to be the pant line, but now I've got to go all the way down past the barrel. So it requires a longer shirt. It also does what we call in the CCW world as profile. And so sometimes you'll see the bulging and the printing of the gun coming through the shirt because now it's on the outside of your pant instead of being tucked in. But the beauty of this Flex holster by StealthGear USA is that it's in a pancake to begin with. So you can see how there's a gradual profile here. Okay, I think it's 0.93 Kydex, something around there. So it is a thick Kydex, but the fact that it's in a pancake instead of a paddle holster really helps slim and gradually show that profile. So it doesn't show through the shirt hardly at all. And then if you'll see here the adjustable clips, that allows you to adjust the height. Now I think this is set on its most extreme lower position. So really where the belt would come through right here, you only have just a couple inches that would have to be covered by your shirt, which is great. So it actually makes it a very viable option for those who want to carry outside the pant. So I'm going to flip the camera around just a little bit and take a look at some of these features. So here's kind of the evolution of the StealthGear holster. Starting with the Onyx, which I just showed. This one is a 2-clip, double-clip holster. All of these are made on the VentCore platform. So it's a hybrid, and the VentCore is this material. Now on the outside it's a rhino mesh, which is very durable and resistant to shredding. If you get it snagged on something, it's really good for that, to prevent that from happening on your clothes or buttons or things. And on the back side, it's actually injected with, I believe, what's sort of like a memory foam. So it's cushy but not bulky. And you can see those little tiny holes through the back side. That's the ventilation system. So right where the gun is, and where the gun would go right here in the Kydex, this part is not ventilated, so it doesn't allow moisture to come through and get on the metal of your gun. But the rest of it is, and that's really important when you're carrying inside the waistband, because generally this part is directly against your skin. And there are some other good companies out there. There's companies like Alien Gear, which I think was a great concept, but in a hybrid holster, this part, the platform, is neoprene. So where I live in California, it's, imagine wearing a wetsuit on you during the summer. That just does not work too well. Crossbreed, same thing, except they use leather. So some good concepts, but nothing nearly as comfortable as what StealthGear does. So then they moved on and they created the Appendix. So a lot of people now are carrying in front of the hip or in the small of the back, and not just on, you know, a 3 o'clock or a 9 o'clock position. So the single clip allows you that control. And I should say it allows that freedom without so much restriction, as opposed to this, which you pretty much have to carry right on your hip, or it kind of bows out in front. So with this single clip, it's great for tighter t-shirts, summer carry. I actually carry this one the most. If I'm wearing Levi's and a big enough shirt, I carry this one. So there's still the retention adjustments you can make. I believe it's the same thickness of Kydex. It's the same vent core. Everything is the same. It's just a single clip, and very, very good. This is one I recommend usually for my students because it's so versatile. So finally, now we move on to the Flex, which is outside the waistband, or an OWB holster. And the Flex, I believe the Kydex, yep, the Kydex is a little bit thicker. That's great for an outside the waistband. And it does have adjustments. You can adjust these up or down. And let's take a look on the back here. I believe, because it's not right against your skin, I could be wrong here, it feels like the vent core platform, actually, you know what, it might be the same. It might be the same thickness with the memory foam in it. So this part is against the outside of your belt, and I don't think, you know, even they spare no expense. So StealthGear, even though this isn't touching your skin, they still have this nice cushy memory foam, so you don't even feel that the thing is there. I mean, I take naps with these things on. It provides the same rigidity, which is important, especially for an outside the waistband. Now it comes with, don't think these are the clips that it comes with. I don't have them here, but it's more kind of like a closed loop. So if you imagine this being a closed loop, you would thread your belt through that, and it would come along the back side here. What I've done is I put on the quick release clips, which are really cool because I teach classes, simunition classes, where we use modified Glocks that shoot paintball rounds, and it really hurts, and it's a lot of fun for my students. But they change between these a lot, so when one of them needs to suit up, it takes a lot of time for them to take their belt off and put the new one on. And so these clips might be a good idea for those of you who maybe you get in your car and you're used to taking your gun off and putting it in a different holster in the console or something like that. And this takes a lot less time. I mean, these things just, you can see this slides underneath the belt, this part slides over the belt, and same on the other side, and it just clips into place. And I found that it still holds really good with your tension. So just to show you how easily this goes on, especially when you have the quick release buckle or the clip here, all you do is slide one side onto there like this. The back side grabs on from the other end, and there it is. So it sits pretty well, especially if you have a nice thick sturdy belt on like that. And taking a look, if you compare it to the Appendix, okay, so let's put this one on right here. It's got the single clip. As an inside the waistband holster, of course, it's going to cover everything up to your belt line. So taking a look over here, well, how far down are we now? We have this at its uppermost setting. You've got about, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, maybe about 3 inches that you need to cover with your shirt. Okay, so if you take your outer shirt like this, now one caveat here is this is a Glock 22. I would never probably carry Glock 22 on the outside the pant. That's a full frame gun, and you're always going to get some printing through the shirt when you got a gun that big. So if you're carrying your 1911 or something like that, and that's what you want to do, more power to you. You're probably going to have to wear a muumuu, or at least another shirt like this over the top. So when you do that, there's no profile whatsoever. So for those of you who really like your full frame guns and you want something outside the pant, this is extremely comfortable. The one other thing I want to mention when it comes to an outside the waistband holster is that some people might want to wear something like this for open carry, so fully exposed. Now, if you live in a state where that's permissible, I do not in California, so there's no option for us, but you know, consider the fact that when police officers are wearing their guns on their duty belts, they typically have a level 2 or 3 retention. So they not only have a thumb brake here, but they also have one coming this way and sometimes a third button in the back. And the reason is, of course, people are eyeing their guns all day. And if you have a crazy who wants to take it from you, it's not hard if you have no release, nothing that you have to do before this comes out. So yes, this can adjust pretty tight in there, and how I've got it set right now, I don't even know if I can do it one-handed, but it takes a pretty good pull to draw the gun out of there. Let's see. There we go. So you can set the retention nice, but someone who's determined, that's probably not going to be a problem for them to pull that out if they want to. So I would stick to using this as an outside the waistband with a shirt that covers it up. We love StealthGear's products. Don't forget, you also have options of the Appendix carry, and you've got the original Onyx, which I still use a lot. And pretty soon we'll be doing a review on the Revolution, which is even a more lightweight configuration, that instead of this vent core mesh, it's a polymer with a lot of ventilation, kind of like honeycomb designed areas, but still maintains rigidity. So we love that they keep developing and evolving for concealed carry. Check them out at StealthGearUSA.com and check us out at PrepperCon.com. If you're in the area in Salt Lake or where we start expanding to, come check us out. We've got everything you need for survival and disaster prep.